Hey y'all, I'm Alice in Wonderland. Um, I'm watching right now. I'm watching this like Nature Boy trial. The trial is actually over. Waiting for the verdict now. All I know is, excuse me, I'm also having my lunch. So if you hear any weirdness, that's what it's about. If Nature Boy gets off, and I believe it's very much possible that he will. Here's the thing. I Ted Bundy is my favorite serial killer. Even though that sounds really disgusting, I'm not saying that it's cool to be a murderer, but he's my favorite because I like to read about that kind of stuff and watch documentaries and shit like that. I think Dahmer's like my absolute least, like most hated. But yet I feel bad for him. And like I feel like maybe if he could have gotten some early intervention, he could have been saved. But I don't know. I also think he might have had some cognitive issues due to his development in the womb. A lot of family trauma. They all have family trauma, you know. But anyway, yeah, Bundy's my favorite because of the outlandish shit that he did. Like, I don't know if you know this, but Ted Bundy busted out of jail twice. Like, he was doing things like state to state, on the run, excuse me, on the run, just all kinds of stuff. Just made him like the most off the chain serial killer, in my opinion. Also, the fact that he was like considered to be so charming and so good looking and so intelligent and so well kept. One thing that like I feel like I learned through that Zac Efron film, I don't know how, but I missed this in anything I've ever read about Bundy in the past, was that he had like a whole step family at one point. I mean, I did not know that. I was what? So anyway, I'm sorry. I also didn't know that Dahmer was killing while living with his grandmother, and that she probably knew that he was killing, but like didn't want to. I can't even imagine. I feel so horrible for her as a grandparent. Like, that's your grandson. You already know he's so fucked up, but he is your grandchild. I know that nothing I'm saying goes with my title whatsoever, but I'll get there. Um, to like be hearing the people come in and not leaving, and hearing him cutting up bodies, and it's like, can you even let your mind go there? And if you're like old as hell, maybe it's like, just I'm gonna die soon anyway. I just don't want to confront this. I don't know. Like, I think she could have like called the cops and just told them, hey, can you come check out my basement? Can you just come see what's going on in there? So yeah, this Nature Boy thing, he will be probably my favorite Hotep if he gets out of this. Favorite, does that mean that I like what he's done? Does that mean I agree with him? Oh, hell no. Absolutely not. He's a horrible person. But if he's able to wiggle out of this shit, just the way that he put all this shit on the internet, he had us all watching for like damn near a decade. The outlandishness, all of the fucking different locations, overseas, domestic, all the crazy abuse, the things he said that he did to women and children, the things that he did to those men, the money shit, like still taking people's money, like and streaming it. And the fact this nigga's name was Nature Boy and he was streaming and on social media and using drones and all kinds of devices. What? There's, you would think there would be so much evidence, and I mean, not really when you talk about court, but in general, you'd think there was just so much evidence out there where somebody would throw him in a prison. And yet, if he gets out of this, I will be like, wow, this dude is just, he's the best. Um, as far as like a hotepper goes, and I don't say that kindly, it's very unfortunate that these people have like taken the term hotep, which is a beautiful word, and turned it into something so ugly. But yeah, he would probably be like likened to a serial killer, like likened to another psychopath, sociopath, narcissist, something like that. Yeah, he would be my favorite. Like, even though he's very much can remind someone of Charles Manson. I think he even kind of looks like Charles Manson. But Charles Manson was more cowardly than this dude. Even though he could get Manson like these, he's got some serious riders. I can't believe Aya is still riding. I mean, oh my gosh, she was it's like she was born for this. It's like she was built for this. She is sticking beside him hard. I think like for people that just went and hung out with him for a little while and then left, he's way more digestible. It's like, yeah, he's hard. He's a difficult type of personality. But the people that stayed, they just got like hooked. What do I be talking about on here? Mind control, brainwashing. That shit is more real than you would believe. But yeah, we all know that this nigga has like taken some pussy without consent. Not even gonna play these type of games. I apologize for chewing, but it is what it is. We know he put up revenge porn. Ain't the first time. We know he's like taken people's passports and kept them from moving about freely. We know all this shit, so you know, you're not gonna stop me from knowing what I know. But these people that don't know him from a can of paint that are sitting on the jury, apparently a bunch of them are black women in DeKalb County. You know, the way that black women are so much susceptible to mammyism and pick-meism, terms I don't really like to use, but you all understand what I mean if I use those terms. It don't look good. He could definitely get off if somebody thinks, like, one thing is, I don't give a fuck about the case. I think he should get his just desserts. But it's not, I'm not in charge. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. So me, I couldn't be on the jury because I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, he guilty. 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 I don't give a fuck about the evidence and stuff because his defense attorney did a very good job bringing out the fact that the prosecution is not using an interview. They're using all this other shit, right? But they're not using an interview where the accuser was being kind of coerced into saying that he raped her. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of a big deal. They wouldn't even let it be admissible in court, which was crazy. Crazy. Like, okay, they are really trying to lock a nigga up. But do I care? No. So he could definitely get off. To me, it's definitely like a 50-50 type of situation. He could get off. Oh, by the way, if you want to see like footage, the jury's at lunch right now. But if you want to see footage of this like trial, you can go to Max V World Media because that is what I'm watching. And I'm gonna be watching this the rest of the day, and I really hope they come back with a verdict. 'Cause I don't want to like wait until the weekend. Um, like the thing about Nature Boy, I guess I should have made this live about Nature Boy. But the thing about Nature Boy is there's a lot of niggas that want to be like him, right? Like there's a lot of niggas that want to be like Polite. Look at what happened to him. A lot of niggas that wanted to be like Young Pharaoh because he had a few different broads at one point, and that's really all it's about too. It's not about any of this, consciousness or whatever. They all act like it has something to do with God, and it always really has to do with pussy. And I just see like every other player out there like, bro, you don't have to do all that just to fuck. Like it's weird. It's weird. It's weird that you have to concoct these huge fairy tales and schemes to fuck. It's weird, y'all. Okay? But yeah, there's a lot of dudes out there that want to be like that. But look at what happens to you and your life when you try to live this way. Like if Nature Boy gets off, there's gonna be a lot of Hotep niggas that'll be like, yeah, see, he got off. That's my man right there. That's my boy. And it's like, so you want to be up in a cell? I think he's been in the jail for like a year. You want to be up in a cell facing 25 to life because you wanted to pretend that you were the three God, or that you were the Messiah or the messenger or some shit, when all you really wanted was some pussy. Like no one's stopping y'all from then, like his women, they're like, they just mad because he's a polygamist. Nobody cares about who he's fucking. It's how he's fucking. Please get that, bitch. Like, please understand that nobody cares. It's so bizarre. Like, you've never seen people have sex, and yet you think that society cares who he's having sex with? Nobody cares. What people care about is him, like, being a cult leader, him trying to control people's minds, him trying to control people's bodies, him abusing people, including kids. Like, what about the weird? I don't, honey. Why is not a case being presented about his child abuse, about his abuses against children? Like, I don't understand that. I'm only assuming because the kids that he abused were his children. So maybe the mothers don't want to come forward and put their children through that. But damn. I mean, this dude, I remember back in the day when this dude pretty much killed a lady. He almost killed Serenity too. Like, he pretty much almost killed this lady. No, this lady died. She literally died under his care and management. Now, she had the free will to go and put herself in that position, but this nigga acted like he could heal her. Okay? He acted like he could actually heal a bitch, and then she went out there and died. Well, anyway, moving on. That's what I'm watching, and that's what I will be watching the rest of the day. Moving on, though. I've been watching Love is Blind. Speaking of mammies, and I really don't like that term, y'all, but AD all day, okay? She she said that she loves, not that she loves them, but she's aware that in the past, right, she has loved, people's red flags. She'll just paint her nails the same color, or something she said like that, so she can match their red flags. She has said that in her past, she was a fix-a-hoe. Is she not doing the same thing right now with Clay on this show? I haven't fast forwarded and like peeped into the socials to see how this ends. I'm just watching the show. And I'm like, this dude is out here telling you all the things that he's not capable of doing, like, or that he's afraid he's not capable of doing. He's like, oh, I'm afraid I'm going to cheat on you. I'm afraid of getting divorced from you. I'm afraid I'm going to let you down. I'm afraid I'm not mature. I'm afraid I'm not ready to be a husband. I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid. And because he says the word ego, bitches' panties get wet. Like, okay, that's like trending right now. Go on TikTok, go on Instagram. That's what these young niggas are talking about. That's their new jive, okay? Talking about their fucking ego and how they need to go to therapy, and how they're trying to get into their black boy joy moment. That's just what they're saying. But are you doing it? The nigga said he hasn't done therapy, and I love how he said he hasn't done therapy, as if it's something you do and then you're like, okay, I did it. Like, no, that's not how it works. But yeah, like, okay, well, you haven't done therapy, so if you're aware that you have these problems, maybe you need to go do it before you go on a show where you could potentially be meeting someone that you're going to marry. Huh? What accountability where? Who? Nah, absolutely not. Self-investment how? And that's another thing. The idea that this guy is very good looking. He's a good looking dude. He dresses well. He seems to be like suave. He's aware of himself, his presence, and how he presents himself. He is an entrepreneur. He makes bank. So he has invested in himself. But in the ways of like being prepared to be somebody's companion, somebody's husband, he has not prepared himself. And he's aware that he has not prepared himself. But then he jumped on a dating show where he's going to meet someone that he might marry. And so, what's on top of that is that this guy is articulating that, which I know to some people it's healthy. Like, wow, he's so self-aware. Yes, I like that too. Okay, but faith without deeds is what? It's dead. Okay, it's not a thing. It's some bullshit. Okay. So don't be like glamored by these dudes pouring out their heart for their shortcomings. What they're really doing, what they're really doing is heat checking you to see if you will put up with that. Because then when they fuck up, they'll say, I was honest with you. From the moment I met you, I told you about my inadequacies. You said you were rocking with me. You said. You get me? You're riding. Sorry, if y'all seen Top Boy, that's where I got that. So, like in Top Boy, all right, and it's very good. In Top Boy, I'm gonna tell you what happens if you haven't seen it, and it doesn't matter if I tell you this part, but anyway, in Top Boy, they're like British dope boys, and they're black. Everyone's black. So at the end, like the main dude is like everything's coming crashing down, and his main bitch is like, "Yo, I'm getting the fuck out of here." And this nigga starts like trying to play his game. He was like, "You was sitting in my fucking mom's house saying you get me? You riding?" Oh my gosh. That just proves to you that these dudes are like universal. Like, cause he doesn't mean that shit. He's just trying to drag her, like convince her to let him drag her through his chaotic existence, which she did sign up for, but still, she can choose to leave. Okay, when it gets too fucking chaotic, when bitches finally wake up and realize, oh damn, this nigga is really a mistake. He's really a whole ass mistake that I've made. Bitches are allowed to abort the mission. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've all been there. We've all been there. But this is what AD is doing now. Like, she doesn't even see it. The show is kind of interesting to me because she says all of this stuff before she's even met this dude, that she is used to doing this. And then the way that the show is presented, you're thinking, oh wow, this is so cute. They're both black. They're both dark skinned. She's so cute. Oh my gosh, he's so attractive. Oh wow. It's really happening. And then I woke the fuck up and I realized I'm like listening to him tell her about all the ways that he could potentially fuck her over to her face. And she is like, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. You can lean on me. I was like, damn, every single fucking time. Every single time. It's like it never fails. This is not a script. This is like at this point, we are just in the cycle. Like, I don't know what it's going to take to break it. Probably divestment. Not to be on no divestment shit, but I'm just saying. I was listening to Fundi Fee like earlier today, and she had a live today, and she said something like really, really good at the 1 hour mark. I don't have it up right now, but if you were to go to her channel and go to today's live, I think it's about Nature Boy Verdict Watch. If you were to go to that live and go to the 1 hour mark, she explains how, in her opinion, the cycle could be broken. And I agree. I agree with it. It is under the umbrella of Black women do what you want. That it's definitely under that umbrella. But the problem is, like, we're not going to do that. Like, I'm not even AD's generation. I think she's like Z, right? Like, I mean, I'm middle aged, so I'm like, yeah, I'm good from this chair. I'm just doing my thing. You know, I'm more about my quality of life. And maybe that's selfish, but I put all my altruism into my kids. And, there's only 24 hours in a day. So I'm kind of like, you know, what else is there for me? Because I do believe in doing what the fuck I want to do. So I ain't got time to. What I'm saying is, I can't solve all these problems. I just can't. I just can't. I can't solve them today. Not for everybody. I can solve my problems, and I try to solve my kids' problems and the people around me. Outside of that, and now I do that for my kids because they're kids. When they become adults, they're going to have to handle themselves. But anyway, this dude Clay was literally listing out the black men that he's listened to throughout his life and how they've all failed him, how the image of black men and black manhood has failed this young man, because it's like he's not a baby. I think he's like 30 years old. Which is another thing I feel like about, I think these are Z. They're not millennials, right? I think they're Z. Why does Z act like they're teenagers forever? Like, y'all is all the way grown. But don't, like, I'm watching this season of Love is Blind, and I'm like, does anybody say full and complete sentences anymore? It's giving. Not that, not. It's like everything. Slay. Period. But hey, whatever. But yeah, this guy is acting like he's still a little boy. Like, no, you're grown. I know your parents got divorced. I know that was probably traumatic. especially when their dad cheated like way early in the marriage, and yet they still have like 10 like more years of marriage. It's like, what? I don't know. Like, did he cheat and then they got over it? Because he's making it sound like he cheated and that ruined the marriage. Like, I don't know. There's like, to me, uh, you should not tell your children too many things about your relationship as an adult. It seems like, okay, because AD's parents are divorced too, and her father's passed away, and it's just something seemed like her mother had more boundaries than Clay's parents, where they didn't involve her in their adult shit. Because she is able to distinguish between herself and her parents' relationship, and her mother distinguishes between the two as well. Whereas Clay is like, I don't want to do what these other people have done. It's like, well, then nigga, don't. What the fuck? I don't even know why you're so brazen to think that you're the mitigating factor as to whether or not your marriage will succeed or not. Like, why is it all about what the fuck you do? Shit. but yeah, like he everything around him, he just talks about how he used to be a player, how he's not ready for manhood, he's not ready for to be a husband, he's not ready, but he put a ring on it. What? And this chick is sitting there like, I'm not afraid. There's just gonna be times where you need me to be strong. And this is one of those times. Y'all are not y'all not even married. You've known him for like 2 months. What do you mean now is the time for him to lean on you? Who are you? We don't even know your name, AD. No, I'm playing. We do know her name, but I mean, like, what? The mammying. I don't like seeing young at this point. Like, that's another thing on the show. I have to go, but on the show, these women literally say the term pick me on the show. Like, oh, nobody wants to be a pick me. Yeah, I don't want to come off as a pick me. Look, you either are one or you are not one. Okay? So, sorry about that. But pick me came from Black YouTube. Then it got into the music. It like went all over social media, right? And now people are saying it on reality TV. So these people are very aware of these terminologies and what they mean. And yet they still can't seem to avoid the behavior. And I mean, I think it's not just like black male worship, because one of the bigger pick-me's on the show is like Asian and white. And she's pick-meing for a white guy. So it's not just, it's not just black women and black men at this point. It's just like a behavior that goes on with women in societies that have a lot to do with patriarchy. Because we're told that if we don't have a man, if we don't have a relationship, if we're not partnered, if we're not walked up in some kind of way. So because men are so resistant being married to, settling down, then these women feel like they have to compete. And I mean, most of these reality shows, whether it's like Bachelor, Love is Blind, Married at First Sight, all these types of things, if it's, it deals with women on some level of pick me, because why else would you rush to marry or to get into a serious committed relationship with a complete and total stranger, right? But yeah, like, it's disappointing to watch, because in AD's case, she is like, it was like I almost fell for it myself, until I literally heard this dude list out all the ways that he believed he was susceptible to failing her. Like, Why don't you have confidence in this area? You know, like, aren't you confident in yourself as a good friend, as a good sibling, as a good child, like son? Why can't you be a good partner? And it's not so much about like letting somebody down, maybe financially, or letting them down spiritually, or it's literally linked to betrayal. I'm afraid I'm going to betray you, deceive you, possibly put your health at risk, and completely destroy the foundation of our entire family. I'm afraid of that. But here's a ring, and you finna be my fiance. And you know what? I have spoken to Black women who watch this show as well, and I'm like, yo, check out the red flags on this dude. And the Black women said to me, I love that he's so transparent. What the fuck? Like, we still why is the bar so low? Because you know what? Let's compare it to the situation with Jeremy and Laura. All Jeremy did, I'm sure he probably, got some sloppy top, but they claim nothing happened like that, right? So we're just going to go with that bullshit. All it took was him not coming home at a respectable hour, and she was done. She didn't need a big breakup scene. She didn't need closure. She didn't need it. She took that power back herself. She said, I'm done. I'm not doing this. She still had all the emotions, all the hurt, all the pain, the tears, and she still was able to stand up for herself and say, I am not in competition for shit. And him and her can ride off on jet skis all they want, and no one is looking at them favorably. Y'all don't look good. Y'all look reprehensible. And that's how I feel about Clay. I'm like, why is this nigga getting applause for saying that he's scared he's going to destroy their family? Okay? AD, why are you not afraid? You should be afraid. The only thing you shouldn't be afraid of, like, if you left him, then you wouldn't be afraid. But if you're going to ride with him, you should be afraid. And the last episode, she said some like, if you stick with me, I'm gonna take, like, it was something crazy, like, if you stick with me, I'm gonna, like, let me upgrade, like some crazy shit like that, like like she was finna upgrade a nigga. And I'm like, ugh, what? Why is this still happening? What will it take to change this? She didn't even see it. She doesn't even see that she's doing it. Like, you're still fixing a hoe. You're still doing it. But anyway, I gotta go.